Now, obviously, the depressingly inevitable return of the disgraced Vince McMahon as executive chairman of the board could completely change the WWE game again, if the former head of creative somehow also finds a way to wiggle his way back into the gorilla position before long. But with Triple H still retaining his creative role for the time being, even after Stephanie McMahon's sudden departure as co-CEO, it is time to look at those underutilized or mishandled WWE stars he will likely make a top priority if he's able to keep his egomaniac father-in-law away from the booking decisions for a little while longer. So I'm Gareth from What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 wrestlers Triple H will save in 2023. Number 10, Lacey Evans. One of the biggest casualties of 2022. Lacey Evans' babyface/heel flip-flopping ultimately paved the way for the majority of the audience, having next to no clue whether they were supposed to cheer or boo the SmackDown star whenever she sporadically popped up on screens. Credit to Evans though, as she fully threw herself into whatever was being asked of her over the course of this ever-changing period. But the damage was done on the back of a few turns too many in a relatively short space of time. And it seems as though Trips has already made it his mission to strip away the nonsense of 2022 and get Evans back to basics on the blue brand. Fully leaving into Evans' legit military background, the latest round of engaging Lacey vignettes have boasted the loudmouth star battering numerous foes and proving herself on many an obstacle course, with the aim clearly being to repackage her as a no-nonsense heel with a penchant for cobra clutching. Here's hoping WWE have the sense to pick a side and stick with it this time around though, eh? Number 9, Carrion Cross and Scarlett. Carrion Cross's return to WWE programming alongside Scarlett hasn't exactly led to waves of new fans tuning into Friday nights to see what level of doom will be unleashed by the former NXT champion next. Likely not being helped by the fact he was dumped right in the thick of Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns' ongoing war out of the gates, Cross's eventual program with the Scottish Warrior felt like it had lost all momentum before it even properly began, and since then the intense SmackDown couple have struggled to really make much of an impact elsewhere, with their recent battles with Madcap Moss and Emma being extremely forgettable. But there is some hope to be found in Cross's next target. Rey Mysterio has a habit of bringing the best out of just about everyone he comes into contact with, and Cross's new obsession with putting the masked icon out of his misery could finally help heat up a villain who has been met with disappointing indifference throughout much of his comeback push so far. All in all, there's a solid enough chance this mini feud will help catapult the antagonist to greater things in the wake of this year's show of shows. But that being said, if beating on Rey doesn't elicit a strong reaction out of the paying public, it's likely nothing will. Number 8, Austin Theory. Having the one-time Mr. Money in the Bank not only cash in on a mid-card title for the first time in the briefcase's history, but then fail seemingly told the story of Austin Theory just not being one of the King of Kings guys. But fast forward a few months, and the sight of the cocky youngster boasting the United States Championship at a time when said strap sits as Monday Night Raw's de facto top title has brought with it the realization of Theory still very much having a place in T-Town. 2022, while admittedly bringing with it his first US title win, and the aforementioned Money in the Bank victory, unfortunately saw Theory largely be presented as little more than a whiny, bratty loser for the most part. However, by simply allowing the unquestionably potential-filled Red Show man to notch a few convincing victories over notable names, Trips has already helped reverse some of the baffling damage done under the prior regime, and you get the feeling that the game has now fully embraced making the revitalized Theory a key priority for the future. Number 7, Bayley. The sheer eruption of euphoric noise that met Bayley's return from a torn ACL at SummerSlam 2022 rivaled just about any other pop the year had to offer. But instead of reacting to that explosion of undeniable support sent the returning horsewoman's way by perhaps having her fellow Damage Control members turn on her early on, Trips decided to stick with the role model as an annoying thorn in Bianca Belair's side, and the results were unremarkable. There was a time when Bayley easily ranked as one of the top heels in the company, but that time has long since passed, with fans clearly losing all interest in seeing the former Raw, SmackDown and NXT Women's Champion cackling down a mic or employing devious tactics to get the job done. Once her current war with Becky Lynch is in the rearview mirror, it'd probably be as good a time as any to bring an end to the anything but believable Damage Control reign of terror, and perhaps that'll finally lead to Bayley rediscovering her mojo as a crowd-popping hero too. We can dream, eh? Number 6. Raquel Rodriguez. As part of the developmental brand, Raquel Rodriguez became one of NXT's greatest success stories to date, going from Dakota Kai's powerhouse enforcer to all-around badass NXT Women's Champion over the course of one hell of a first year or so on the Black and Gold brand. But since arriving on the main roster in early 2022, Big Mammy Cool has rarely been offered the chance to showcase what made her such a WWE commodity in the first place. Instead of bulldozing through the division with bucket loads of attitude, Rodriguez was depressingly forced into the grinning babyface role, and said artificial beaming and happy to be here attitude quickly resulted in Raquel losing almost all of her momentum in a matter of months. Thankfully, her recent battles with the baddest woman on the planet over the SmackDown Women's Championship have brought with them a few flickers of the fearsome performer within. And while this year's show of shows may come a little too soon for the towering babyface, you can bet that Triple H very much has the impressive 31-year-old at the forefront of his mind when it comes to building the main roster's next batch of top women to lead the company into 2023 and beyond. Number 5. The Street Profits. Around this time last year, heading into last year's WrestleMania, many were understandably wondering whether it was time to finally send Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins their separate ways. But a year on, the twosome are still being met by a decent enough reaction from crowds all over the world. Despite putting on a number of exceptional contests opposite the Usos in 2022 though, it's safe to say that the fun-loving tag team have felt pretty directionless for some time now. And the longer they continue to meander around a tag division that isn't exactly reliant on them, the more damage could potentially be done to any hopes of either man going on to even bigger things as singles performers in the future. It's already been made known that WWE are extremely high on Ford in particular, but Dawkins would also benefit from the space to explore who he is as a singles worker, and has proven time and time again that he also has the tools and ability to fire himself right to the top if given the opportunity. Simply put, Trips is likely as aware as anyone that the twosome are in desperate need of a change at some point in 2023, and that long-awaited split would likely provide both stars with a chance to take things to the next level. Number 4. Johnny Gargano. With Vinnie Mac at the wheel, any concept of Johnny Wrestling popping up on Raw or SmackDown as anything more than a plucky underdog destined to be pulverized by whatever chunk of meat he was getting a kick out of in the moment seemed fanciful. But now the game was leading the charge, perhaps the former NXT champion would finally get the chance to show a wider audience why he ultimately went on to become the heart and soul of all things black and gold. Only instead of allowing Johnny Wrestling to do, the last bit, upon returning to WWE, Trips has insisted on burying the one-time NXT star's organic connection with the audience under an avalanche of forced zingers and smarmy shenanigans involving Dexter Lumis and The Miz. Hopefully this whole ordeal with the A-lister was little more than an attempt to fill time before Tommaso Ciampa's eventual return from injury, and the two can set about reminding folks what they're truly capable of at some point in 2023. A main roster chapter of the DIY saga would likely help make up for the duo's otherwise hit-and-miss run on Raw to date, and maybe even erase the excruciating memory of Johnny firing off air pistols in a cowboy hat. Number 3. Nikki Cross. The return of the balmy Nikki Cross on Raw in October seemed like another attempt to undo the damage done to one of his NXT darlings by his father-in-law from Papa H. But since teaming with Damage Control in their efforts to take down Bianca Belair and her pals in the lead up to Survivor Series War Games, it's safe to say that fans haven't been really given that many reasons to feel excited about the comeback of Cross's more unhinged persona. Sure, she did help literally bin off the 24/7 title, well, nearly, but away from that, Cross hasn't exactly set the world on fire under the new regime. However, if reports regarding the potential return of one-time Sanity pal Eric Young are to be believed, then perhaps 2023 will see the return of the former NXT Hellraisers, and this alone could help breathe some much-needed life into the often lost in the shuffle character. Add into that the recent seeds being planted for a feud between Candice LeRae and the former Money in the Bank briefcase holder via bizarre backstage stalking, and the future finally appears to be somewhat intriguing for a compelling star long overdue some main roster attention. Number 2. Shinsuke Nakamura. Those who opted to spend the first day of 2023 wisely no doubt found themselves wondering where WWE had been hiding the version of Shinsuke Nakamura that rocked up to Pro Wrestling Noah's The New Year 2023 show. Not since the days of the King of Strong Styles Black and Gold quest to lift the NXT Championship had fans been exposed to the former IWGP Heavyweight Champion's ability to leave you truly wincing in your seat with the wicked swing of a boot or knee. But the Nakamura that showed up for that Great Muta retirement bout seemed to have rediscovered a spark that once looked to have been lost after years of god-awful booking and a lack of faith being sent his way by upper WWE management. The game, on the other hand, has clearly always respected the one-time New Japan Pro Wrestling man, and been a fan of what Shinsuke can bring to the party. And fresh off of the buzz that was generated in that unlikely crossover showdown, you can bet the cerebral assassin will be looking to keep Nakamura's momentum going and finally unleash a version of the King of Strong Style similar to the one who impressively Kinshasa'd his way through developmental all those years ago. Number 1. Ronda Rousey. Instead of being received as a genuine game changer, Ronda Rousey's Royal Rumble win soon paved the way for a seriously forced babyface run that again saw a one-time no-nonsense figure churning out cringe-inducing one-liners behind an artificial ear-to-ear smile. Not even her eventual lifting of the SmackDown Women's Championship could overshadow just how miscast the Armbreaker was in the role of the wisecracking top face. But Triple H thankfully had the sense to begin reverting Ronda back to her tried and tested savage and fan-rejecting ways during Rousey's hit-and-miss feud with Liv Morgan, and at long last aligning the one-time MMA star with fellow legit fighter Shayna Baszler on screen turned out to be a step in the right direction too. Now a pissed-off Rousey's without her SmackDown Women's title in the wake of Charlotte Flair's unexpected return and impromptu championship-winning victory over the household name, the stage appears to be set for Ronda to go on one hell of a violent rampage en route to getting her MMA gloves back on her strap once again at some point in 2023. And hopefully said championship quest will ultimately see Rousey once again regain the formidable aura that at one time forced the company to put her on last opposite the man and the queen on the grandest stage. And that's our list of any other wrestlers Triple H will save in 2023. Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if you like this kind of thing, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I've been Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Thank you as always for watching this video today. Hopefully I'll see your faces very, very soon, but in the meantime, be good to yourself. Bye bye!